Our city commission meeting to order at 7 PM, November 17th, 2025. We have a quorum with Kyle, Jaden, and myself present, and Steve and I joining remotely. It should be a pretty short agenda, and we can move right into it. So we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. All right, guys, first up, we got our minutes. These are our special meeting minutes from November 3rd, and then our regular commission meeting minutes from November 3rd as well. If they look good, we'll just need a motion to approve them as written.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes posted.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the minutes as posted. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, commissioners report. Go ahead, Kyle.
It's been pretty good so far. The guys are still ramping up for winter. It's around the corner. I'd just like to make an announcement, I guess. Please ask all trailers and campers, boats, any other abandoned vehicles, things like that to be taken off city streets and moved elsewhere if possible. So when we come through to do snow removal, vehicles aren't damaged, so on and so forth. And then if there is any concerns, I guess I can either call me at 701-741-7887 or call City Hall and they will contact me as well. Thanks.
Everything I've been working on is kind of on the agenda for tonight. So the CDs maturing and the bonuses and cost of living. So that'll all be covered later.
Steven, do you have anything?
Yes. So we'll be discussing it later tonight, but we have got a quote to get the aeration system at the lagoon repaired. Besides that, that's mainly what I've been working on. So that's it.
Okay. My end's been really easy again. It was another reporting cycle that was just really clean and neat. I got to help Chief Helene with police officer interviews, which was a blast. We had 3 really, really good candidates. 4 kind of, but 3 top tier ones. So it'll be interesting to see what the recommendation goes on that and if we can staff up our department. That's about it on my end. So moving on to modifications or approval of the agenda. Chief Helene, I believe you have something you want to add? Okay, so it's a request for approval to hire. So we'll go number 10 on new business with Chief Helene. Request to hire. Then Stephen, I believe you have something as well.
Yes, I would like to add a quote from EDI for the lagoon aeration system onto tonight's meeting.
Okay, so 11 will go EDI quote dash lagoon.
Perfect.
Okay, anything else we need to add, guys? Oh,
Letter of resignation as well.
okay, we're gonna bump you down to 12 because I don't want to redo that. So Chief Helene. Letter of resignation for 12. Okay, if you guys are good with that, we'll need a motion to approve the modified agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the modifications of adding number 10, 11, and 12.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the modified agenda with additions 10, 11, and 12. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, moving on to old business, legal, Liz, yep, I see Liz.
I'm here. Good evening, gentlemen. I will be quite quick myself. Just wanted to let you know and follow up. You'll recall at the last meeting, the first November meeting, we discussed that there would be an upcoming scheduling conference in the Terraflex litigation that did occur. That occurred on Thursday last week, morning, the 13th. Long and short of that hearing was that, as you well know, there's been another third-party defendant added. They were sued into the action because of third-party practice. You know, their camp, the new camp, is entitled to discovery. They're entitled to participate in the process. That's just the way the justice system works, whether it slows things down or not. The court properly took those matters under advisement. I, of course, articulated that we were not tremendously happy to be facing the potential for yet another continuance, but, you know, we understand. I mean, we know what due process is, and the court began looking for continued trial dates that would allow them to meaningfully participate. And the only 5-day, the nearest 5-day stretch that the court has available for this trial, which is civil in nature, is December of 2026. Those dates, which will lead me to my next point, just so you all know specifically what those are. The trial date will commence on Monday, December 14 of 2026, and it will run through Friday, December 18 of 2026. I don't want to jinx us, but I just cannot imagine that we would suffer yet another continuance. I would like to say, you know, in fairness to the judge, he did scour his calendar. It's a 5-day jury trial. It's hard for them to find those blocks. So that is his nearest available dates. And it's unfortunate. I see Josh is in the audience. Good evening, Josh. I think, gentlemen, again, I'm not going to ask you for a decision tonight, but given the length of delay of the completion of that trial, probably pretty darn appropriate that we start really considering before next season opens up, rebidding that. Kyle, you asked a wonderful question at the last meeting, and I'll give you the super summary, which I think is now very, very much front of mind given that decision and trial date. I think I wish the trial would be complete. However, I think that if we rebid the work and we have the proper scoping of the work, I think in the long haul that helps us, even though we're stuck in the unhappy predicament of paying it up front because we get the work that we believe is appropriate to repair those issues. We get a new road, and frankly, it resolves damages in advance. That's one less thing to fight over when we get there. We don't need to talk about that tonight, but you know, whether that's Kyle or Brett or both of you, depending on how we need to line that up, and then Josh, in coming months, I would like to start discussing that just so we can make sure our ducks are in a row and try to get those streets fixed and make sure everything's papered in a manner that's consistent with collecting our money at trial. So I think that's all I have tonight, gentlemen. And if anything else comes up on the agenda, I'll be happy to pop in, but sounds like everybody's got it handled.
Okay, guys, questions for Liz?
Nope.
All good. Thanks, Liz.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
All right, moving on, engineers report.
Good evening. So a few updates for this evening here. Start with the softball relocation project. I did make contact with the supplier that Brett had initially talked with, just to kind of touch base with them, see if there were any special items that would need to be accounted for in the design for the project. Really the biggest thing from the design standpoint is just having an outlet for their drainage system. They put like a flat, it's like a 1.5 or 2-inch drainage pipe that's 12 inches wide, kind of a flat drain that's kind of throughout the field. And then they have a 8-inch collection pipe around the perimeter that needs a discharge point. That's really the biggest kind of, you know, difference from a grass field that would need to be required for that. So yeah, kind of met with them, got other details, summarized them in the packet there, some life expectancy things they said 10+ years is definitely something you could expect out of the product they're proposing. Maintenance, really just general maintenance is just going around with fill material as needed to fill in areas that the material may have been displaced from to protect the backing. Use of a groomer, they said the cost of a pull behind groomer is $4,500. And then areas that have higher wear, may need some patching, at the 5-year mark or so, depending. As far as other, more, I guess, heavy duty maintenance, they did recommend like a heavy duty cleaning, deep cleaning of it every roughly 2 years. And they said, kind of a budget for maintenance is probably $2,500 a year, just for kind of keeping things taken care of out there. If that is the route that the project ends up going. Let's see, concrete curbing was one thing we did talk about. A lot of turf fields I've seen do have like a concrete curb around the perimeter of the artificial turf. They said that's typically, more of a buffer between the grass and turf, so probably not anything that would be needed. What they're proposing is just a pressure treated nail board. I did ask them about it being in a flood zone. They did say they have had fields that have been flooded, and in that case, depending on how much sediment may be deposited, it may require replacement or cleaning of the fill material. I guess the last thing on that specific conversation was they did bring up what they called a purchasing cooperative. I've never heard of that before. And it may be something if we do want to kind of sole source the product by any chance, to avoid formal bidding process of it. They did say that's that they've used those with public entities in the past where you kind of, they do, it's kind of a larger group where they provide a bid price, and then you, from what they're indicating, cities or other governmental entities can purchase directly through that at prices that have been previously bid through that. So something we can have to consider as we move forward with it. So with that, I did chat with Wendy a little bit before the meeting. She mentioned a grant that's being applied for. I'd also talked with Josh earlier today about that as well. So I'll provide them any information we can to help with that grant application as well for that project. So any questions at this?
Well, we've got a lot of quotes left to get, right? We want 3 quotes for planting grass, 3 for laying sod, 3 for artificial turf, right?
So it'll have to be publicly bid, just getting quote, it'll have to be advertised for bid to meet the legal requirements there with the century code. So just calling and asking for a quote from 3 different won't suffice that requirement. So at some point we'll have to advertise for bids and actually obtain formal bids for those different alternatives.
Do it sooner than later. Spring's coming.
Yep. Frost's not quite figured out yet, but it'll be here. So we'll get started on that. So excuse me. North Main Street reconstruction project. They did complete their final concrete work for correction here, I believe it was last week. They have their final payment for release of retainage on that project. The value of that is $35,710.87.
So I guess I just want to ask there's just 3 spots that need to be fixed up on North Main, right? There's just 3.
Yeah.
2 on the east and 1 on the west. Okay. Sounds good. I'll make a motion to approve the Pro River construction quote for $35,710 $710.87.
I'll second.
And that's just, it's a pay app, right?
Correct.
That's
Yep.
the final pay app?
Yep, yep, closing out their last of their retainage that was held on the project. Yep.
All right, we'll, gonna leave the motion as is, the quote. Okay. Got a motion and a second to approve Crow River's quote, in the amount of $35,710.87. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
The next item is the water service line inventory. So I haven't touched on this in a while, but we did probably a year and a half-ish ago start working through a contract with the state Department of Environmental Quality to assist the city with identifying service line materials. Part of that was records research, as well as sending out mailers to residences to have them hopefully participate in submitting the online survey questionnaire to identify service line material at their meters. We're in the process of them issuing a work order to further assist the city with development of that. And really the scope of that includes going door to door, asking people for permission to inspect their service line. If they don't allow us to, we do have a pamphlet we can hand out to them for them to hopefully participate, so we can we check more of those off of the list as we develop that. So that is a work order directly with the state, so it's nothing, no cost for the city or anything there. But we may schedule our first visits, depending when that all gets executed, potentially early December. But I'll be in touch with Wendy to get a notice put out to people so they aren't alarmed of people going door to door. So, any questions?
Yeah, how many are there still unknown, I guess, for as far as residents?
I can get you that tomorrow. I'm not positive off the top of my head. The key to it is that you need, for them to be removed from the list, they need to be identified on both sides of the curb stop. So you need basically a record of a project being done, of what the service line was put in up to the curb stop, and then you also need the identification on the inside for them to be removed from that list. So that's been kind of a question from quite a few communities. Well, the person says, well, we completed the survey. Well, yeah, we have the inside, but they require the other side of the curb stop as well, which causes kind of some confusion there. But
So there may be a possibility that people get doubled up on pamphlets again if they've already completed it, but it's not completed on the curb side as well.
well, I guess we'll go door to door to the ones that we don't have the curb or the private side, the inside identification. The ones that we've already identified the inside of, we won't go back to those. But a letter does need to be sent to people where it's not identified on both sides, just notifying them that there's a potential for a lead service line on a yearly basis is what the EPA is requiring at this point. So. Okay. And the last item I have this evening then is the Annabelle Homes replat. So we're getting started on that. Dan and I were in contact with Jill with the title team to, I guess, obtain information and pricing for obtaining the abstract and title opinion for that, those parcels there. She did provide their estimated costs. We did have a follow-up discussion with her. She anticipated $5,500 would cover it. She thought it was likely on the higher end, but didn't have until they get into it a little bit, they don't don't know exactly, depending on how messy things may be with it, but that was their quote to prepare that for the platinum of the properties.
Need nothing on that either.
Okay.
You don't need anything on that either?
Well, if you want to proceed with it, we should probably have a motion to approve that, unless there's been previous approvals.
And that cost is just to the title team.
Correct.
There's no outside costs, like, or there's no engineering fees for this.
So, the plating was 2,500 from our side, but for them to prepare the title opinion that's required by century code for plating of the property. That was their cost on that.
Well, it's gotta happen one way or the other. I've bought a lot before without an abstract, and it's pretty disheartening to find out you buy something and it doesn't have one, and then you gotta go out and do it. So whoever picks these parcels up, they should have that.
Josh, is that one abstract that she's preparing, or she's preparing an abstract for each individual lot, or does she intend to issue title insurance policy?
Yeah, that's what she indicated at the time of sale of those parcels after they're subdivided, title insurance policy would be able to be
So
prepared.
she's just updating one abstract for the parcel as is. Once it's surveyed out, then it would be title, and it's not a separate abstract for each parcel, Brett. That when they buy it, they'll get their own abstract. They'll get a title insurance policy. But the abstract does have to be updated for the parcel now as is.
Bummer. What do you guys wanna do?
Well, I mean, we've already started, right? We've talked about, and that's what we want to do, is to get a abstract for all these. So I mean, I think we just need to proceed with it.
Okay, so what's your motion?
Who's the company again?
The title team?
Title team?
Yep.
Make a motion to, approve the title team quote in the amount of $5,500.
Good, 5,500?
I'll second.
Josh, is that correct? It's 5,500? Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the quote from the title team for the abstract for these properties. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
That's all I have, unless you have anything for me.
No, I
Thank you.
don't think so.
Thanks.
All right, moving on, we got the airport board letters of interest. You guys know we still have a board seat open. We've got 3 letters of interest right now. 2 of which have been out there for a while, then we got a third shortly after that listing expired, so we re-advertised, and I think it's time to make a decision.
I guess I'll make a motion to, accept the letter of interest for Juan Flores for the open board seat for the airport board.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to accept the letter of interest from Juan Juarez. Any discussion on that? No, okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Moving on to new business, we got a rink liner for the community center. Hold up a second, I'll pull it up. All right, this was quoted by Blue Lake Plastics and it totals $2,007.50. I think you guys know that when we try to fill the rink, it doesn't hold water. There's some pretty decent sized holes and gouges in it. So we've got to install a liner to get the water to freeze. So it's kind of a must have if we want to have a skating rink. And then next summer, I think we had best look at repairing that rink so it is watertight. There's obviously a few spots on the north and west ends, but there's a pretty big hole on the southeast corner that we got to get patched up. But at any rate, we've got a quote to install a liner for this winter.
I'll make a motion to approve that quote from Blue Lake, an amount of $2,007.50.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the quote from Blue Lake. Any discussion on that?
I guess the only thing I want to say is I know the city guys have been actually installing the liner, and then putting the water down. So this would be just strictly to purchase the liner.
Okay. Move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. And then we have a quote from ProSafe for pest control at the community center. Pretty easy one here. It's just $110 a month. It's a reoccurring charge. Keep the pests out.
I'll make a motion to approve ProSafe's quote in the amount of $110 a month.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the reoccurring quote from ProSafe in the amount of $110 a month. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. On to number 6, we got some CDs that are about to mature. Jaden, I don't know if you want to take this.
Yep. So there's 2 CDs that are gonna mature yet this year. There's one this month, and then there's one that matures in December. So, probably just, I mean, in my opinion, I guess we'll just wait until December to see about, the other one, but I think maybe for the one that expires this month, we should make a decision on whether we want to, what we want to do with the money once it expires. I think we should put it back into a CD again. Looking for insight to how much you guys are thinking or whatever. So we went out and, we got some info. So we had one from the Bank of Tioga, one from First State. Both pretty similar. 6-month CD at the rate of 3.5%. So I think, best move would be to keep the money in the Bank of Tioga. 3.5 is pretty decent. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, just looking at it, it's 3.65 APY at First State Bank, 3.55 APY at Bank of Tioga. 3.5 for an APR. That's a difference of 0.1%. You know how I feel about keeping our money in town.
Yep.
So I would really like to renew that at minimum, that first CD.
Okay. So when that CD expires, we'll have to do something with that. I believe it's 5,273,000.
Yeah, that's the amount, and then plus the accrued interest, which I think is like an additional 200.
Additional 214 on top of that. So I'm thinking, I'd like to motion that we move 5 million of that back into another CD at the Bank of Tioga. 3.5%, a 6-month CD.
And not accrued interest though, that's going back to start our checking account.
Well, I think we should take that 273 and then the interest that we earned, and I think that should go into the general. I guess I can make that a part of my motion as well. Or should we make two separate motions?
It hasn't been seconded yet, has it? If it hasn't been seconded, you can amend your
It-
motion.
It has not been. So I can amend the motion.
I'll second that.
Right?
Wow, Kyle. Just like. All right, so we've got a motion to renew our 6-month CD once this one expires in November for $5 million and then roll the accrued interest back into the general fund, which we don't know the final dollar amount yet, but anything on top of the 5 million.
Yeah.
What a messy motion. We want. But that's the motion, guys. So any discussion on it?
No, I think it's very wise to keep our money local, and I mean, the bank does a lot, and it's a great positive reinforcement to do. So good idea to keep local.
No, I agree. All right, fellas, let's move to a vote.
Yes.
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 And motion carries. All right, Jaden, this is you again, the 2025 bonus. So this is employee based, right?
Yep. Yeah, so it'd be Christmas bonuses. I believe last year, for the holiday bonus, I think we did $1,000 for full-time and $750 for part-time. Does that sound right?
It does, yep.
So, I guess I'm kind of thinking I would like to do the same, but a little different. I think the part-timers should get the same amount as the full-timers. I think I like the amount, but I guess looking for suggestions if you guys think it should be higher, lower.
I've got an opinion on it. It's kind of selfish, to be honest, but the last two meetings we've had, I think my update has been, things are going really smooth. I don't have much to add. 99.9% of that is because our employees are doing a phenomenal job. We've put them through it this year. We've had some lofty expectations and they've met them. They've done a great job. You guys might think I'm way out of left field, but I'd like to double the bonuses this year. Oh, that's very lofty, but we've got 22 full-time employees. Just a handful of part-timers. And they're making my life way easier than it could be. Like it wasn't that long ago that you and I were putting in piles of hours every week, like way too many. And that has smoothed out so much. I don't know, you can tell people you appreciate them until you're blue in the face. This is just in my mind, it would be a way of showing it. But that is an increase when you double, and that might be a little too steep. That's just what I'm thinking right now.
I wonder what we got budgeted, Wendy. Do we have enough budgeted where we could do that and still be under?
We've had a number of months where we ran thin on headcount based off of budget, so there's the only
There's
way,
room there.
the only way we run thin and still maintain the high quality of work is by everybody grabbing an extra gear and just getting it. And I think an increased bonus that would just be more justification for it.
Thoughts?
Um, I, I guess I was comfortable with 1,750 personally. I guess that's kind of the route I would lean towards myself.
Steven, thoughts?
Initially, I feel like I was comfortable with the 1,000 and the 750, but you guys have made some really good points of how the city employees have really come together and done a great job this past year. So I think I would be okay with doubling it or even meeting in the middle at 1,500. But I agree more would be better and definitely show appreciation.
How about we meet in the middle of that? Brett, thoughts?
No, that's fair.
1,500 for full-time and part-time. No reason why the part-timers should get any less. They put just as much into it as anybody.
Yeah, and they don't get to reap the benefits
Yeah.
of full-time. Yeah, that's great. It's an increase. Um, we're spending less money year over year this year. We're operating smoother. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer that you increase it. And not every year can be like that. We're gonna have tough years. This is just one of those years where we've done exceptionally well. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like that we have the opportunity to even talk about increasing it.
Well, I'll motion that we set the 2025 holiday bonus at $1,500 per employee. That includes full-time and part-time.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to set our 2025 Christmas bonus at $1,500 per employee.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion in a second to set the Christmas bonus at $1,500 per city employee. Any discussion on that? All right, we'll move to a vote.
No,
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, motion carries. All right, number 8, that's the City of Tioga cost of living allowance. And you again?
Okay, so that's cost of living. I know traditionally we've did, it's usually about 3%.
3, 5, or 8. I think last year was the first year it was down to 3% in a while.
Yeah. Well, what we have budgeted is 3, so I would prefer not going over 3, but three's okay. We got that budgeted, so. Any other thoughts? Steven?
I'm okay with 3%.
I as well, I'm okay with 3%, but I want you guys to think about this maybe a little bit differently. And again, I might be way out of left field on this, but this is just my thoughts. I think the economy, for the most part, and cost of living has stabilized pretty well. I mean, you're seeing prices go down in a lot of areas. Prices are still going up in some areas, but I would I would really like to do away with cost of living allowances going forward and do raises based off of merit. I'll tell you why. If you do raises based off of merit, it incentivizes being a top performer, right? So you can be out there just grinding every day, doing a great job, you get a 3% raise. Flip side of that, you might not be grinding as hard as that guy or gal and still get a 3% raise. The other part of that is if you do it based off of merit increase, and specifically our step schedule, you're kind of in limbo for 3-year periods. You could be doing a great job and get a raise. You have to wait 3 years. At the same time, you don't have to be doing a star-spangled awesome job and you're still going to get a raise every 3 years, right? So I'd like to look at it more based off of merit, possibly being done with the step schedule routine that we've been doing. I don't like it. I just do not like the step schedule. But that would be
Well, and it contradicts itself. Like we've ran into problems where if we want to give a merit-based increase with the step schedule, that totally contradicts that. So really, if we're gonna follow the step schedule all the way, we really shouldn't do merit-based raises. Really, that's a big contradiction. So, I mean, yeah, I'd kind of be interested in just getting rid of it myself or adjusting it so it's more of like a range. Like there's maybe a way to do that too. Kind of been peeking at that, but not very far on that yet.
Step schedule should have went away 8 years ago. That's dumb. I agree. That step schedule for employees,
it's terrible.
it's dumb. Should have went away 8 years ago.
Like there's something awful about seeing somebody just doing an awesome job and then knowing you can't really do anything for them for 3 years. Like 3 years is a long time.
Yep.
So anyway, back to the cost of living allowance. I mean, I'm cool with the 3% this year, but I would really like to look at doing away with that. Unless we have another situation like COVID or something like that pops up and things go through the roof and we need to offset that. But right now, everything's pretty well stabilized.
Yeah, I don't think there's much change from this year to last year, really. Not that I could see. Well, I don't know the exact number either, but. I was just throwing 3 out there because, I mean, that's what we do have that budgeted, so
Yeah, no,
I'm okay with that too.
it's a fair number.
I mean, I think raises should be based off merit too, and there are certain circumstances, like with COVID, maybe a guy would have to do something like that, but I mean, to be, I mean, it's really not the city's problem. I mean, you have to, when you make your living and your life, you have to budget accordingly.
You got any thoughts on that?
No, I agree with everything that's been said so far.
All right, we'll need a motion then.
You're up, Jake.
Yeah, I will make a motion that, City of Tioga's, cost of living, be 0%. Let's do away with it.
Right, so is it, just to clean up the motion, is it, your motion is that there is no cost of living allowance for 2026?
Well, if that's kind of the direction we wanna go as far as how we do raises, you'd have to start somewhere. We can either start this year or we can start next year. Guess it makes no difference to me. Or we could just aim for 2 or 2.5 for this year, do away with it next year. I'm open to suggestions.
My recommendation would be keep it for 2026, and then knowing how big of a task this is gonna be to redo everything that we've been following for, what, Tim, you say 8 years or so?
It's been longer than that, but I.
Longer than I think we ought to keep it for 2026 and then do all the legwork, homework, the work to shift towards merit increases, performance-based raises. Just because I don't know if we can pull that off by the time 2026 is here, which is like a month and a half away.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay, so I'll move that we, do the 3% cost of living raises then, cause that's what we have budgeted, so we can always make the change next year, or, we can make the change, it doesn't have to be now. Like you said, we should maybe do a little legwork before we change too much, so.
It is gonna be a lot of work.
I'll second that 3%.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the 3% cost of living allowance for our employees. Any more discussion on that?
Yeah, I guess the reason why I think we should do the 3% is we can be transparent with all the employees and be forthcoming with information and be like, this is what's coming down the pipe for the future. If you need a little time to get some affairs in order or whatever it may be, instead of just dropping the hammer and not doing that, I don't think that's right. So that's why I think that we need to do the 3%, and that way that they're all aware, and then we can slowly transition into that, and moving forward.
Yeah, and my hope honestly is that when we roll something new out, that people will be able to earn more than 3% increase. I want to see that. Like, I want to see everybody get as far as they can while they're working for the city, because the city's doing great right now, and that only happens if you have top tier employees. And I think there is something to be said about incentivizing performance. So, hey, any other discussion on that, Stephen? Are you good?
No, I completely agree with you. I think changing it over, if possible, by this time next year would be fantastic. But right now, I think we need to stick with the 3% for this right here.
You have an effective.
Oh, for the cost of living allowance?
Is it like January?
Remember what it was last year? Cause I really don't.
Really don't. I
Well,
feel like we're a little
if you-
early.
If you, no, I think you- then it would start December. Payroll will be part of it.
It's like effective December 16th.
Okay, yeah.
All right, Liz, procedurally, what do we gotta do here? Motion,
Okay.
second, no vote.
Oh, motion second, no, but well, have we called for a vote or were you just entertaining discussion?
Entertaining discussion.
Okay, so I think you can call for a vote, but it might be good to just recite. So the last I had down was that the commission was moving to approved and it was seconded a cost of living allowance for essentially the 2026 year to become effective at December 16 of 2025 in the amount of 3%. Was that what was that the motion?
Yeah, no, the December 16th or the effective date wasn't in the original motion.
Why don't you just finish the motion you have on the floor and then somebody move to make the effective date by separate motion the 16th? That way we don't have to move and modify in second and then move again.
All right, guys, we got our motion and our second to set the cost of living allowance at 3% for 2026. We've had our discussion. Let's move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
That motion carries, and then we'll need a motion for an effective date.
I make a motion that that comes into effect on December 16th.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to have the cost of living allowance go into effect December 16th, 2025. Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, number 9 is just a public notice for landfill winter hours. So the effective date of December 1st, 2025, the Tioga landfill will move to its winter hours. Those hours of operation will be Tuesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the first Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. There's also some phone numbers attached to that. We don't need to read it, but nothing to motion there, correct? Just public notice.
Correct. And it'll be posted on Facebook as well out on the cork board out front.
Okay, moving on. Chief Aline, come on up.
What I have is a request for approval to hire. We had interviews last Friday. We had 4 interviews, 3 of them knocked out of the park. The top scorer that we all kind of gathered, his name's Matthew Aberly. I'd like to extend a offer to Matthew Aberly contingent on background check, clear, medical check, and then drug and alcohol testing. So it'd be more kind of a verbal offer to him at this time.
I'll accept the request to hire Matthew Aberly regarding, or as long as he passes a background check, drug and alcohol, and health check.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to extend an offer. And if accepted, hire Matthew Aberly.
And then determination on start date, he's employed as a cop right now, so he's gonna have to give them a proper notice, all that stuff. So I don't have a start date for him yet, but I anticipate would probably be around December 16th. So it gives him time to be able to move here, find living arrangements, things like that.
It's not a lot of time.
Got about a month.
All right, so we got a motion and a second to extend an offer to Matthew Aberly. Pending drug and alcohol background checks, and then physical health check and start date yet to be determined. Any discussion on that? I'm with Cody. This guy was phenomenal. Boy, was he fun to talk with. He what did he work? A 12-hour shift. Drove all the way here. Came suit and tie, dressed to the nines. Interview just outstanding, and then went back and worked another shift.
Yep, went back and worked another shift. Drove 3 hours after working a 12-hour shift. He really wants to work for us. He's very pleasant. I think he's gonna fit great in the Tioga community. So I think everybody would be very impressed with him.
It's definitely got a can-do, will-do attitude. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. All right, let's move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Be right back up, so get ready. All right, number 11, EDI quote for the lagoon. Steven, this is all you.
So I've been in contact with EDI to get a quote from them so they could work on our aeration system at the lagoon. They finally were able to get back with me. This does have an expedite fee on it, so they can get to it within the next couple to few weeks. Otherwise, it was going to be a few months. So basically, what they're going to be doing out there is, let me pull it up, sorry. They're going to retrieve the units out of the lagoon, remove the existing membrane, replace that and all the clamps, and the diffuser core, and replace the ballast as well. That was recently added onto this quote. That wasn't on prior ones. And inspect everything, including the air piping, connection supports, diffuser cores, and any other components. And if there is any damage or defects, they'll let us know. They will also be making sure any bolts, nuts, anything like that they come in contact with are properly tightened, and all support hardware is good to go. Then to finish it off, they will be testing for leaks in the system. With this does come a guarantee of work for, see, I don't see that right off the bat on here. I know there was right here, 1 year mechanical / workmanship warranty on any parts replaced for startup, or 18 months from shipment, whichever comes first. And everything will be shipped to the job site for them to take care of and get it done. This quote is for $55,875. And the expedite fee will be $6,500. So that would be a total of $62,375. I sent all of you an email with this quote if you want to look over it. But yeah, that's what I have here.
And Steven, they for sure can be here within the next 3 weeks, right?
That's what they told me, that they could definitely be here within the next 3 weeks. They have all parts and everything in stock at their facility, which is in Canada. So nothing actually has to be ordered, so to speak. And that's what I was told by them, that they'd be here within the next 3 weeks, 2 to 3.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote from EDI in the amount of $62,375.
I'll
So
second.
with that real quick, would be a payment which we can do a separate motion for of 20% down or $12,475 upon confirmation of the PO number. If you're looking at the quotes, that would be down in the breakup of payments down there. There's 3 separate payments.
No, I mean, Stephen, the reality is that's their quote. Those are just payment terms.
Okay, I was just letting you know.
Okay, so we still have your motion, Kyle, to accept the quote from EDI in the amount of $62,375.
I second the motion, Brett.
You did second?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
No, I did.
Okay, good motion in a second. I'm sorry, guys. Motion and a second to approve the quote from EDI in the amount of $62,375. Is there any discussion on that?
No, I mean, it needs to get done. The, state was out, they did an inspection on it, and that was one of the things that they stated needs to be improved on and kept up on with. So, I mean, it needs to be done, so.
No, I agree. I am irked beyond belief that we're paying an expedited fee of $6,500. This is something that could have been done spring of last year or this year, summer. And this kind of stuff just cannot happen. It won't happen. If one of us are struggling with something, we're gonna have to figure out a way to pick each other up and push through stuff like this, right? My 2 cents on it's not the greatest 2 cents, but like I said, I don't love that we're paying extra costs on something that we could have handled earlier this year. All right, let's move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Number 12, Chief, you're back up.
So on November 12th, my department along with City Hall received an email from Sergeant Sarah Litton. She let us know that at the conclusion of her maternity leave, she would not be returning and being employed at Tioga Police Department. So what I'm asking is I received the email on November 12th. I'm asking that her resignation be effective November 12th. We plan on paying her out for her vacation time and stuff like that. But she's already planning on not coming back and she's not in the state anymore. So
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation from Sarah Linton, effective November 12th.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to accept Sarah Litton's resignation effective November 12th. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, sir. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. We got bills for November. Fund application for the Tioga Area EDC and a visitor promotion fund for the Tioga Historical Society. You guys have all looked those over? Everything looks good. We'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion on that? Move to a vote.
Yes.
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 The motion carries and we are on to public comment. Anybody have anything? Nothing? Crickets. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to adjourn. Move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries and we are adjourned at 8:05 PM.
Thanks, guys.